second session. The first one, which is a month ago. So we have discussed about the 3D, which is a conventional types of radiotherapy treatment. So today, Miss Yu are going to talk more about the IMRT. Are you going to show the patient-specific QA as well, Miss Teo?
I can't show the flow lah, but I will show how to create the plan.
Okay. And then a bit of VMAT. So after that, we will follow with question and answer. So again, hopefully that you are going to be proactive and answer all the questions asked by Miss Teo. Okay. So you can start now, Miss Teo.
Morning, everyone. So before I start my presentation, I wanted to show you one video which we install our new machine 2019. So we actually record the process from zero until finish. So it's a very good chance for you all to see the video. A minute. It's a short video. You can see the screen, right? The one I'm sharing?
Yeah, yes, can. Yeah.
Okay.
But no sound.
I can't on because I remote to my hospital computer. So this is the big gantry head. And how this one is, oh no, this one is the ring, and then this one is the gantry head. It's super heavy, so we have to protect the hospital floor. And then if you're coming into our department, so this the ring is the behind one. So they are actually, this one is the MLC head. So they attach the MLC head into the gantry head. So this is the team member of Grangers. So basically, it actually with the schedule, it needs 2 months to install the machine. But then because of these 3 Australia Electa engineer, they actually did a very good job lah. They do very fast. By 1 month only, they already by 1 month they already settle one machine. Means they already done install the whole machine. If you are lucky to be on site, you will actually learn a lot of things, because from little spare part they install become one. You can actually see MLC head, the target, the gun. I mean the X-ray tube you can't see because it's already done install from Germany. So and then what else? After we install the machine, we have to do the beam data collection and do the commissioning to make sure everything is correct and there is no leakage. Then this is the process. The beam data correction will be done by the in-house physicist. It also took around 2 weeks if you work 8 hours per day, 2 weeks to collect all the data. So after you collect all the data, you have we will send the data to the treatment planning system application specialist. They will help us to commission it and then to install in our treatment planning system. Then again, we have to create some field plan, Imrt plan, 3D plan, and then we have to again we have to verify the QA according to what we plan. It's something like the patient specific QA, but we have to make sure what we plan is tally with what the machine should. Okay. Then now I'm going to start my presentation. So today our topic will be introduction to Imrt. I will start from the Imrt first, and then I think I will jump some. I will, because the VMAT is part of related to Imrt, and then I will go into the patient specific QA. Then only I will show you the example case. So what is Imrt? So Imrt actually, I think you already know, but I just recap some. It stands for intensity modulated radiation therapy. So it's an advance from the 3D conformal radiation therapy. So why we say advanced? Because normally the conformal radiation therapy is 4 beam, 5 beam, but actually Imrt can do more than that. So if you improve the dose delivery to the tumor, while reduce the dose to healthy tissue. For this, I will later I will show the example why we are saying that. So Imrt helps to promote better treatments with the better outcome. Hence, the patient have they can extend their life and with the better quality of life. So with the better treatments, it also will reduce side effects. That's why we said the quality of life will be better. So it's also much less burden to healthcare system. Why are we saying that? Because if we treat only 3D, but the 3D will improve, the 3D won't reduce the dose to healthy tissue. So if every patient is treating Imrt, means they are getting enough dose to the tumor and the healthy tissue dose is low, and we can also prevent the recurrence of the tumor because the tumor is getting enough dose. So for following, normally we will monitor patients, those cancer patients for 5 years survival rate. So by using Imrt, is actually can extend their recurrence and then extend their life. So maybe by 3 to 5 years, they wouldn't go, they wouldn't recurrence, and so they don't need to go back to hospital to do a recurrence treatment. So and hence like repeat patients. So actually, if in government setting, is a very is very good for the public healthcare system lah. It's also, but in Malaysia we are still using a lot of 3D technique. Some for part of the reason is okay because 3D treatment is very fast and is cheap. While Imrt, you need 1 week treatment planning times. It means patient need to wait for 1 week because there's a lot of works to do during planning Imrt planning. And then the price is also very expensive compared to 3D. For if government, of course, patient don't need to pay. I think maybe patient need to pay 500 or what, I don't know. But if in private, the price will be from 20K above. If 3D is around 10K plus 15K only. So it's better to have your insurance. I'm not promote insurance, but it's better for the youngster now to buy a better insurance policy because like in our hospital, we face a lot of not old age patient, is around like 50, 60. You know, their insurance is always the 20 years back one, so their coverage is very less. So actually when they come to our hospital to do some chemotherapy and the radiotherapy for their cancer, there is always a issue that their insurance not enough. Some is only 50K per year, which is not really enough. Even you have 100K coverage also don't really enough based on the treatment regime. But this one I wouldn't extra explain here lah, but I just want to say it's better to buy a higher coverage insurance based on my working experience in hospital. And
Miss
then
Teo, can I ask something? Because it's quite
yes,
interesting. I didn't know that. So patient actually can choose what kind of regime that they want to use
no, actually,
based on discussion.
if chemotherapy, there is a guideline like the first, the best is what, the second and the third. Of course, if you have money, you can choose the best regime. If for radiotherapy, doctor will offer you, we based on your cancer first. If doctor said, okay, maybe your case 3D CRT is enough, so they will only offer 3D CRT. But in private sector, we are now actually more promoting all the patients to choose the Imrt or VMAT. So if you are afford, we will encourage you to take the VMAT because the side effects is really less compared to the 3D CRT. But normally in our hospital like Penang, those private patients, because Gleneagles is quite very famous in Penang, so people always say it's 5-star hospital. So my patient is always quite very kaya one.
Lauded.
So, but actually I also have the GH patient coming in because we have a contract with GH. So those GH patient is really like really can't afford one, then only they will go GH. So when you come to when we accept GH patient, so doctor is the one choose for you. You cannot choose. So doctor will choose which type of the treatment suitable for you, because they need to take care the government money ma. So majority is 3D lah. Very seldom they will choose IMRT.
Oh, so those cases, sorry, from the GH were actually paid by GH, but by government.
Yeah,
If you are
GH.
referred, I see.
But the GH, as what I know, the patient have to pay like 500 ringgit lah. Pay 500 ringgit. But if you
That is
are
still cheap,
government
yeah.
service, you don't need to pay.
I see.
But some people don't even can pay 500 ringgit.
True.
Okay, and then okay, enough. Okay, I can continue.
Yeah, okay.
So compare 3D CRT and IMRT is a different way to plan and treat patients. So for 3D CRT, we will call it as forward planning, while for IMRT, we call it as inverse planning. This one will be explained later. So
Miss Teo, are you sharing your slides?
yeah.
We couldn't see. I thought that you were just talking.
Oh, sorry. I think
Yeah. You have to unshare and share it again, yeah.
This one. I think
Okay, now can see. Yeah.
okay. This now is just this what is IMRT, and then this one is the second slide. So 3D and the difference of 3D and IMRT. So 3D is basically for field, and then IMRT you can actually choose 5. Normally we use minimum 5 beam to 9 beams. So with by using IMRT, we improve the treatment delivery because the automation and the targeting multiple tumors in one treatment only. So it means like if you have 2 or 3 tumors in lung region, let's say, we can actually treat together the 3 tumor together in one IMRT plan. So this one I will show you later in the example case. Okay, so why we use IMRT? Because we can because due to the complex target shapes and the confirmed radiation dose to tumor, we can actually make if the tumor size is oval shape, we will plan the if you do the treatment plan, means the dose coverage will overshoot as well. It's not for field, box field. So this one, I will show it later, because now when I'm talking is you can't imagine how it's related. So it's also decrease the complication, because the if you escalate the we will priority the dose to the tumor while reducing the dose to the organ at risk. So by using Imrt, those patients, let's say 1 or 2 years ago, they have radiotherapy section. Example, let's say last 2 years, they already received a treatment, 3D treatment to nasopharyngeal cancer. So actually all the organ at risk tissue is already reached the maximum limit. Like example, the spinal cord, you can receive up to 45 gray. So when we want to retreat this patient, of course, first we have to see back the plan, which area is received, which region of the spinal cord, the maximum dose they receive. And then the third, we need to calculate the gap correction, because if you already study radiopathology, there is a formula to calculate 2 years until now is 720 days. So we can actually calculate how much the dose is already, how much the balanced dose received in your body. So let's say, for example, I don't really calculate. So last time you already received maximum 45 gray, and after 2 years, the balance dose is 30 gray. So if you want to retreat the cancer region near to the spinal cord, so now you have balance 15 gray to play around only. So when we are doing Imrt plan, the physicists need to know the actual dose, the maximum dose you can receive. So now after we calculate is 15 gray. So you have to make sure your plan, your treatment plan, the spinal cord cannot receive more than 15 gray. So this is the very important, because if it is more than 15 gray, the patient may occur some the most severe case is leader case, means patient may die lah. So the very mild case, patient may very weak in their limbs. So this is very important. So you have to master your radiobiology course for the calculations. And then why I said Imrt is very useful in this recurrence patient, because Imrt can confirm the dose according to the tumor while we spare the spinal cord. So I will show you the example later. And then this is the many clinical trials actually prove the effectiveness of Imrt, because it improve the long-term overall survival, improve local control, lower incidence of late toxicity. So this is what Imrt can achieve compared to the 3D conformer. So this one is some example. So example like just now what I said for the head and neck case. For head and neck area, we have a lot of sensitive organ at risk. And then for this picture is actually treating with 3D CRT. By using a 3D CRT, we can only use 2 opposed beam lecturer to cover all the region, this yellow and orange region where doctor want to cover the tumor area. But you see there is a spinal cord here, the blue color, and both left and right parotid. By using 3D conformer, you cannot spare the spinal cord and the parotid gland. So while this one is a 3 beams Imrt, and this one is 5 beam and this one is 7 beams. Of course, when you use more beams, if you more confirm to the target, so you can actually see the spinal cord here. The dose is much lesser while you are using 7 beam Imrt. The light blue color is 40 gray. So you can see actually the Imrt can shape the tumor dose, like going a curve around the spinal cord. This one also later I will show in my example case. So okay, this one is example of pelvic case. This one is a rectum case, where the doctor contour the blue large region is the lymph node region, and then this one is the rectum. So by using the 3D, again we can only use the 4 beam technique. So end up the dose will be like this. Okay. Why it is not a 4 field box dose coverage? Because at here, the corner here, we actually use some MLC to show out. That's why we can shape the this one called like a hexagon, pentagon, like a hexagon shape. But while 1 minute, so while you are using IMRT, you can see the dose coverage is nicely conformed to the tumor where the doctor contour. You see, the green color they confirm very well to the target. By using this IMRT technique, it actually can reduce a lot dose to the bowel. Bowel means the large intestine, the small intestine, as well as the bladder dose. See, this one is the lateral view of patients. This area is the bowel area. So by using a 3D conformer technique, you can see the dose. I think the red one is the target dose. Example is 60 gray. So actually, the 60 gray is hurting, is inside the bowel dose. So if you treat like this, the patient will cause diarrhea, and then some have bowel. What do they call? Their bowel might be, the terms in Malay is the bowel may bocor. So if you cause bleeding, so while using the IMRT technique, you can actually reduce a lot doses to the bowel. So hence, patient won't have a severe side effect. Okay, this example also I will show later. Okay, when we want to start IMRT treatment in a new center, is this one is side topic. When we want to start IMRT, now government KKM is very strict, because if 3D CRT is very normal, you can get the license. But when you want to start your IMRT treatment to a patient, KKM will request you to attach all the staff working experience. If your hospital is getting new fresh grad, they won't allow you to treat IMRT. They won't provide you license. So at least 6 month attachment in other hospital and the training skill, then only they will provide you the license to start the treatment. If you start the treatment without the license, they will gantong your license. So your hospital cannot treat patient. It's quite a serious case. The KKM do a very good job in here, so they restrict the hospital, the protection to the patients. And so we as a staff, not only physicists, the radiographer, the oncologist, everyone in the department, you have to understand the equipment, and then how many staff you need to start up the IMRT treatment, and then for the training, as I mentioned just now, the acceptance and the commissionings of new equipment, because when you want to do something new, you have to do a lot of QA, including development of comprehensive QA. For this comprehensive QA of machine, I won't touch here, but all the requirement QA list you can find at IAEA web. They have a list. So it also requires close collaboration of well-trained multidisciplinary team, because this one, as what I mentioned, is from oncologists, physicists, and radiographer. Actually, the vendor, engineer also, everyone have to work together to start up this new technique, because physicists cannot stand alone to do everything. And then for IMRT, there is 3 types of different modes where you can from the IMRT technique developed until now, there is 3 types of MLC base. The first one is static MLC, means we step and shoot, means that when the radiation beam is off, then the MLC leaf will only move. Means where let's say example is 5 beam. So the first beam already done, then they will turn off the beam. Then when they go to the second gantry angle, the MLC will move according to your plan. Then once the MLC leaf is moved to the desired the plan position, then only the beam will be on again to shoot the patient. So that's why we call step and shoot. Means like you parking the kereta, sudah siap, then after that you jalan. Then when you go to another place, again you parking and you go like that. So the second type is dynamic MLC. This is what called in short form is DMLC, or sliding window. So this one is different from the first one, because when the gantry while the radiation beam is on, the MLC will move. Means they keep changing the MLC pattern, but the gantry position is fixed like this. And this one, actually, I don't have the video to show you how is it. Maybe you can YouTube it later. So from IMRT, then we develop to VMAT. So the VMAT actually volumetric modulated arc therapy. So go back. The IMRT is actually like 5 beam, 7 beam, and 9 beam fixed angle. So for VMAT, it's actually move around the patient 360 degree. So while the gantry rotates, the MLC also move, and the radiation beam is on also. This one is a bit difficult for you to imagine, but if you got chance to visit to hospital, then it will be good lah. Because we really can't show you the things. Okay, so when you want to treat a patient with IMRT techniques, what we need to have is 3D imaging data set as the 3D conformal technique, and then if you have MRI or PET CT scan, it will be the best, because you can feel the image, so doctor can see clearly where the tumor is, and they contour according to the tumor where the PET CT uptake or the MRI contrast image. Then after that, we will contour all the organ at risk and the target volume. For IMRT technique also, the patient immobilizations and positionings, we will need a very specific better device to maintain the position. Not only maintain the position, they also need a good setup where they can reproduce every day. So because the treatment for the 3D CRT, the tolerance for the setup is 5 mm. While for IMRT VMAT, we will reduce it to 3 mm only. Means when they set up the patient after they do the beam CT, the CBCT, they will assess if the setup is more than 3 mm, then the radiographer will require to reset up the patient until they get the reading is less than 3 mm. So okay, then okay, just now I already mentioned about CBCT and the QA also. Of course, this QA will be done before the patient treatment. This one I will I will explain further later. So actually, what is intensity modulated beam compared to the 3D? So if you see the right first image here, this is the 3D conformer technique where the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 beam is actually have a flat profile. So if you make all each beam have a uniform fluence. So when they add up together, it will cause a fluence map like this. So with the same 5 beam with Imrt technique, because Imrt technique we can modulate the beam, the intensity. So the fluence may low over here and then high over there for different 5 beams. So by adding up the 5 beam, the fluence map will become like this. So you can actually see the red color here is the higher dose regions. So that's why we can target higher dose to the tumor while save the organ at risk. See, when there is a 3D, all the fluence map combined together is, let's say this one is 60 gray, or is 60 gray. But using the MRT, we can control this one is 60 gray, but only here is 70 gray. So this is what we can modulate the beam and which adapted to suit the target and OAR. Each beam has a non-uniform fluence. Okay. So this one is the difference between the 3D and the Imrt. 3D is called forward planning, and then Imrt is inverse planning. So in 3D forward planning, the last section we already cover how to create a plan. So when after doctor contour the tumor, first we need to specify, we have to key in how many numbers of beams energy, and beam entry angles. So means this one is the first job we will need to do during the 3D planning. And then we will calculate the dose. After we calculate the dose, we evaluate the plan. So if the plan is not good, so we may end up change some weighting from each beam or add some wedge angle. Then only you repeat the cycle, calculate or evaluate until you accept the plan. While for Imrt, we will first also put in the beam angle, beam number. Let's say you want to 5 beam Imrt technique into the plan. We will put in 5 beams, and then you select the energy. But then for Imrt, we need to tell the system, okay, this tumor I want to receive 70 gray. We will tell them, we will key in 70 gray for this tumor. The bladder I want 50 gray only. So we straight away tell the system what do I want. Then the system will automatically develop plans for you. It's tabulated here compared to the 3D planning. Because at 3D planning, you calculate those only, you can know how much the tumor receive. While at Imrt, you direct tell them, this one I want 70 gray, that one I want 50 gray. So after the system give you the plan, you evaluate. If you don't really like the plan, then you can change the dose constraint. This one means like You can play around the weighting and adjust some constraint. A different treatment planning system have different those constraints for you to play around, but I will only show you the Monaco those constraints later. So the most different thing in 3D and 3D with and Imrt is this one we call forward calculate the dose first, but Imrt we inverse it, means we straight away tell them. So this is the clever of the algorithm of the treatment planning system. Okay. So, but we also, the inverse planning is not the perfect, we still have some problems. So there is some factor affect the result, the beam orientations, the numbers of beams, the optimization parameter and those constraints, and then the algorithm and the objective function. Of course, in here, the experience is a goal, like 1 year experience compared to a 5 years experience physicist. Of course, the 5 years experience physicist can create a better plan in a shorter time. So for Imrt, the 5 to 11 beams are sufficient. The minimum is 5. The most normally people will use 11 because when you get more beams means you deliver, the deliver time will be higher. Sorry, I saw one question now. How do I go back? 1 minute. How do I? How do I go to the questions? Or you can ask directly to me. I saw, but I don't know how to go back to the chat box. Huh? Just now I can see, but now I'm not. Oh, this one. Participant. Yeah, please. Yeah, all follow the RTOG. Yes, but like the example is like iPhone and Android, two different developer, they create two different software, the iOS software. So when the Android user try to use the iPhone, it will cost you like maybe 1 week or 2 weeks to play around with the iPhone because you are not used to the iPhone feature. There is some how to say I have to show you the example because like let's say in Monaco, we have few criteria to choose the parameter to choose like target penalty over those deviation. This one I'll show it later. While in the variance treatment planning system, they have only target dose, maximum dose, minimum dose, where minimum dose means you will tell the computer you select minimum dose of this target 40 grade, and then maximum for this target 50 grade. You can only choose either minimum or maximum. While in Monaco, there is more choice parameter for you to choose around. Later I'll show you, don't worry. Okay, I continue first. Okay. So, as what you said just now, we will need a global solutions to have a clear clinical protocol. Means wherever you go, everyone will know this is the protocol and this is the criteria you need to meet. So in this one, we will call it as ICRU report. In IAEA website, you will find a lot of this one. For example, for this ICRU 83, prescribing, recording, and reporting in Imrt. So once you read this one, you get a lot of information, how you prescribe the dose, how you record all the treatment plan report, and how you want to analyze your DVH. So this report also, they will include definitions of GTV, CTV, PTVs, and margin. Means they will tell the doctors from CTV to PTV, you should actually expand how many This one is standard goal for the oncologist. And then the target coverage, optimal and mandatory. Example is 95% of the volume of the PTV must cover how much dose. Maximum for this organ at risk is how much, but the in what in under certain under certain situation you may exceed the maximum dose, but in how many percent? There's a lot you need to read in the ICRU report on some RTOG or the contact, as I mentioned last section, the DVH analysis. Because this one I'm not going to explain further. When you are working, then you will know. Okay, and then okay, now I straight away jump to the patient specific QA first, because I hope to finish all the PowerPoint first, then later we will continue to the exam clinical case. So once you done the IMRT planning, what time will we break?
Around 10:30.
Or you want to break now, then later I continue in the patient specific QA. Because later my topic will all about the QA. Okay, we can break now first.
Come back at around 10.
Can. 10:05 can, no problem. Okay. Any question you can type in the chat box. I can start now. Okay, I can start now. So after we create a IMRT plan, and then before I start the QA, I don't think I will touch more about VMAT lah, because actually VMAT is just a evolution from IMRT. So IMRT, as we know, there is a 5 beam angles, 9 beams angles, while for VMAT is rotating the volumet volumetric arc therapy. So it's actually move around patient 360 degree. The concept is the same. The more fluence you create, the better the treatment, the plan. So VMAT is actually is like maybe 90 beams of IMRT. So it's move around. So it's VMAT is more superior than IMRT. Means VMAT can create a better plan than IMRT. So for my hospital settings, we won't treat IMRT now, because IMRT basically IMRT one treatment section, it will needs about 20 minutes, because due to the just now the what I mentioned, the step and shoot and the DMR, the sliding window set up for IMRT technique. So actually it will cost more time, delivery time to the patients, while by using VMAT, as the gantry goes, the MLC also keep changing. So using a VMAT technique, the patient one treatment section is actually less than 10 minutes. So by using VMAT technique, we can treat 2 patients compared to 1 IMRT patient. So in our hospital, actually, I only, so far 7 years, I only treat 1 IMRT patient only at the beginning of the year, when we start up the radiotherapy department. So now we are all using VMAT only. While in government setting, they are still using IMRT technique. There is few reasons. One is their machine maybe is not equipped to the VMAT, and then I don't really actually understand why they don't want to go VMAT. Maybe some old machine cannot perform VMAT because they need some special machine, how to say machine specifications. Maybe their machine don't have the specification to perform the VMAT technique, like the gantry speed, the leaf, the MLC leaf motion. There's few criteria to fulfill when you want to use the VMAT technique. But and then majority of private setting, I think 90% of my private setting is using VMAT, because actually after VMAT we have more like cyber knife, gamma knife, tomotherapy. There's few more things, few more different machine compared to LINAC. So in private setting, you can actually see more than this. We are still discussing 3D MRT VMAT, but because this one is the basic you have to know. Okay, so come back to patient specific QA. After you done the MRT or VMAT plan, you have to create a QA plan for patient. But why do we need it? So because we need to identify the hazard and failures and evaluate the consequences of it. So means when you create a plan, if you direct treat the patient with the plan without perform a QA, there's some. Here is why we want to identify the hazard and failures, because some of the QA may fail during your QA running. Then you have to find it, and then you have to find out why the QA is fair. There is if you there's some of the reason why your QA fail, like your machine output is not correct, you create a wrong ISO center, your setup problem, your MLC leakage, what else? And then during your plan, during your the plan you created, maybe there is a bolus, there is a lot of air gap in the patient body, but in the phantom there is no air gap. So there's a lot of reason may cause your QA fail. Then as a physicist, we need to find out why. So okay, so for the QA, what do we need to verify? So after you create the plan, we have to send the plan from TPS to LINAC. There is a third party, there is a middle, not middle. After you create a TPS plan, we will send the plan to a system called Mosaic. This Mosaic is like it's an integrated information system. So if you gather all the information from the treatment planning system, and then they transfer the information to the LINAC. It's like a middle person to communicate between LINAC and the treatment planning system. So after we load all the information into the Mosaic system, before that, we have to create the plan because the plan is according to patient body, patient CT image. So when we want to create a QA plan for patient, of course we need to calculate the plan to a phantom, either water phantom, or there's a lot of phantom in market. I will show you later. So there's two types, to phantom or to patient. If for patient, we will call it in vivo dosimetry, like the one you all do the TLD base. So they collect directly from patient body. But in my hospital, there is the in vivo dosimetry. I will show you later. So there's the basic is you have to calculate the plan to a phantom. So what do we need to verify? So again, just now in ICIU report 83, it will describe all the verification. Why do we need? So this is the 6th. So verification that the Imrt field boundary match the planning boundary, which is commonly done for 3D CRT. In this one, that means during the 3D CRT, we may take port film, we may do the CBCT imaging. So we need to match back. Does the field is correct applied in the machine? Because sometimes, even though we have the Mosaic system to send the information from the planning system to the LINAC, but the Mosaic system may occur some error. So there's a chance, like let's say physicists edited wrong MU and import wrongly, the file is wrong, then the treatment may cause the treatment will be error for patients. That's why before we start the treatment, we have to do all the QA first. Sorry, 1 minute. I have to change my place because there is some worker coming to my hospital, my house. 1 minute. Okay. And then the second independent calculation verification verification that the machine instruction driving the lifts produce the planned absorb dose distribution is something like I said the because we are not sending directly from the planning system to the LINAC, we are using the third party software to communicate with the LINAC. So we have to verify every, because IMRT if you be a lot of segments, like in 3D it's only 4 beam, but in IMRT or VMAT there is maybe 100 200 small segment to becomes the fluence map. So we have to verify each segments that we send to the LINAC is correct. So, and then the third one is comparison of the absorbed dose distribution in a phantom with the calculated by the treatment planning computer for the same irradiation conditions. Means at the plan, each fraction you receive 200 centigrade, we must make sure the phantom also receive 200 centigrade while you're doing the QA treatment, QA plan. And then comparison of the plan lift motion with the recorded on the MLC logs file. This one is just now the one I said. There's 100 segments with different field size. So we have to compare each one. If you to compare each one is correct or not. Maybe where during your treatment plan it show 1 by 1 cm, but at the LINAC it show 1.5 by 1.5. Means there is an error. Then we have to find out what's the problem. So confirmation of the initial and final positions of the MLC for each field by a record and verify system. The record and verify system is the one I said, the third party software with what we call Mosaic. Of course, there's another software, but in our hospital we are using Mosaic. So in Mosaic is a very powerful information system. And then the last is in vivo absorb dose measurements. This one later I will explain. So okay, in the market there's a lot of QA hardware. Actually, this 4 is the latest 2D or 3D QA tools. In those old days, we may only use film, ionization chamber. If film means you only compare the fluence map in 2D method. If point dose, you only compare 1D. Means you only compare few points at the plants. So it's but last day they don't have 3D, so they can only accept the 1D or 2D QA plans. So for the latest, this one is we call PTW Octavus. The company names is PTW, and then this one is Sun Nuclear Arc-Check. This one IBA Matrix, and then this one Delta 4 is under I forgot what is the company name, but my hospital is using Delta 4. All this PTW Arc-Check and Delta 4 is perform a 3D QA. As the machines go around, they collect the data. They rotate when the machine is rotating. It's not 2D. If 2D is like this, 2D when the machine gantry is 0, they collect only 0 gantry 0 fluence map. While the 3D types, when the machine go, for this circle, they will rotating according to the gantry angle, so they collect every gantry angle fluence map. Now this is the new era of radiotherapy. So of course, this is the not new era, because the latest is the in vivo dosimetry. This is what we call in vitro dosimetry. So, and then, okay. So, the patient-specific QA also we will call it as pre-treatment verifications. So last time, they will create they will using the film attached to the gantry head. So they shoot the beam. After they shoot the beam, the beam will show up this fluence map, which you need to compare with the TPS map. This one, they will analyze just according to the intensity of each small grid. And then, okay, the second thing of the 2D is also using what we call using Imrt. But last time we used film. And then when the technology improved, they actually they actually put in this, what we call is Imrt. Is Imrt device into the machines. So this Imrt device is actually it's something like now currently when you go to hospital to do the x-ray, the chest x-ray, now they are no longer using x-ray film. They are now using digital film. So when they take a x-ray for you, they will straight away process the digital film by using software. Unlike those days, we need to develop the film. By using Imrt, so it will directly show at your system the fluence map. So convert from analog to digital. This in Electa we will call it as iView GT. In variants they will call in variants there is another names for variance machine, but I can't remember now because I already used to Electa. So, but anyway, either what names of it is the same function. So it will digital, it's a digital film. Then, okay, when is the verification is perfect? So there is a rules, there is a goal rules which introduced by law ETAL in 1988. So what we call this is gamma index, 3% over 3 mm. 3% means the dose difference from the plan. You can only with if you up from 3%, it means your QA is fair. So the isodose point distance in within 3 mm. So this one involve a lot of physics and calculation, which I also not really understand how they how they calculate it. If you are very strong in physics, then you may go and read this out. But the goal is 3% and 3 mm. Okay, so this is an example result for delta 4. Just now I mentioned we are using delta 4 QA tools to do our patient-specific QA. So once you shoot the treatment plan to the delta 4 phantom, the delta 4 software will automatically generate the result for you. So there is some background software to running lah. I also don't know how they create lah. And then, but the first thing is, of course, we need to send our plan to the software so they can compare with what you measure. So once we are done measure the QA, perform the QA, so it will directly show the result here. You will see the 82.9% is within 3% deviations, while 97.5% is within 3 mm distance to agreement. So the result we can consider 1 pass 1 fail, because this one is only 82.9. Supposedly you need to get 97%. So it will show you with the software, it will that when you set up the software, you can straight away put in the criteria you want. You may set 5%, 3 mm, 3%, 3 mm. It depends. Some hospital, if I'm not wrong, for certain cases, they will set 5%, 5 mm, like the NPC cases, because it's involved a lot, too many organ at risk. It may cause the QA, not say the QA fair, but when you increase the tolerance, means you accept these differences of the plan and the real treatment of the real treatment to the patients. So some hospital, they may accept 5%. There's no wrong and right, depends on your hospital policy. But of course, the gold standard is 3%, 3 mm. So my hospital is using 3%, 3 mm. So far, touch wood, we don't have any. Oh, we have some. There's few times our patient QA fails, but then after we find out what's the problem, is actually the software develops some bugs file, which when they compare the result, it occurs some errors. And then how do we find out that problems is my hospital, actually we have two set of QA tools. One is the just now what I mentioned is this PTW Octopus, and the latest one we use Delta 4. So when the Delta 4 give us some error message, we will double check it back with the PTW software. So we have two QA tools to verify each other lah. So unlike some hospital, they have only one QA tools. When the QA result is fair, the physicist will very nervous because you cannot treat patients, but then the doctor will keep telling you, tomorrow I want to start the patient. So by that time, that hospital, they have to go and find out what's the reason their result is fair. It's if you need a lot of time to verify what is the problem. So to reduce this kind of problem, we have to set. So my hospital is rich enough to have two sets. So for example, like there is one hospital, their QA tools is spoiled. They're sent for repair but spoiled. So in the meantime, they need to borrow from us. So when they have a VMAT plan or Imrt plan, they need to borrow the PTW QA tools from us. So it may cause the delay patient treatment lah. Then, but at the end, we must make sure, however, whatever reason you have, you have to make sure you run the QA before you treat the patient. We must let the doctor knows there is a very strict rules in the hospital. Without perform the QA, we won't treat the patients, because initially a few years back, my doctor will force me treat the patient now, but we will always, because we really got no choice, we have to stop the other patients treatment because we need to use the machines. So yeah, we tell the radiographer stop for a while, maybe like 30 minutes. So I have to perform the QA first before I can treat the patient. So for this, all the patients waiting time will be increased. Of course, there is some complaints about this, but that's why after that we strictly tell the doctors we haven't do the QA plan, cannot treat the patient. Then after that, the doctors agree with us. So it's very important that physicists, you have to stand in and fight with the doctors. Don't follow only whatever doctor says. They are not the one. They are not the one to help you. If touch wood anything happens, the patient will sue you, not the doctors, because you are not doing your job. So you have to protect yourself. Okay, go back. Okay. So just now I mentioned in vivo dosimetry. So in vivo dosimetry, I believe you all understand what is that. So means that it is a dose to the patient. It's a real receiving dose to the patients, unlike the in vitro dosimetry, dose to the phantoms. So, okay, traditional in vivo dosimetry has been point dose dosimetry using TLD or diodes. Means they will place the TLD or patients on patient's body. But how many can you put? 10? 10 also, if it's only 10 point dose where you measure for the whole plant, where there is maybe 100 segments. So you only measure 10 out of 100. So that's why they said a point is not representative of an Imrt or VMAT dose distribution. And so now, how can we verify in the in vivo dose in a 3D method? So, and then now they developed something new. They also use the Imrt dosimetry. Just now I mentioned the Imrt, the IVUGT. So it's the same. There's another software like the 3D Phantoms QA tools. They develop software. There is few software in the market, but my hospital is using this. Okay, this software, what we call DosiSoft Epigray. So when the patient is receiving treatment, we have to turn on the IVGT Imrt and with the software. So when the patient is receiving 360 degree, so the Imrt actually also will collect the actual data from the linac. So it will end up, it will come out like a front map, front map as this. So it will compare, the DosiSoft will compare every intensity of the collected data. Means the actual patient dose receiving is correct or not. So by using the software, you can straight away know, sometimes even though your QA of the phantom is passed, but how about the real patient receiving the dose receiving? So by using the this software actually we purchased early of years, and then we are now conducting the research on prostate patients only. So we are still collecting all the data, but so far so good. I think if I'm not wrong, my senior physicist is conducting the research with some of the USM students, but I'm not sure the USM, I think it's the IPPT student, I'm not sure master or PhD. They haven't come out the report yet because they cannot come, due to the COVID, they could not come to our hospital. So we are still research on our own patient, our own data. But so far so good lah. Of course, sometimes there is some error, but then we manage to verify what is the problems. Okay, and then okay, pre-treatment QA is essential when setting up a new treatment regime. Means any new treatment regime, like you change something of your machines, the MLC, there's a lot of issue inside here. When you want to change the patient plan from Imrt to VMAT plan, you need to conduct again the QA. And then when you want to change from this machine to another machine for the patient treatment, you also need to conduct a new QA because different machine, different output. Okay, and then at the end they actually mentions the developments of Imrt dosimetry has reduced the QA burden per patient and include the in vivo dosimetry. Even though they said like this, we will still perform because we are very scared. When the first time patients come, then only we do the in vivo dosimetry. We scared there is error, even though after the 7 years pre-treatment verifications, there is about 99, maybe 95% lah. 95% of our patients QA is passed. So actually, but we dare not to leave out the QA, though the QA plan to phantom. So we dare not move forward to do only in vivo dosimetry. Unlike in certain overseas country, they actually now drop the phantom QA, they direct jump to the in vivo dosimetry. But maybe we are Malaysian, we are scared. So we will still continue doing 2 site QA, one in vitro and one in vivo. So, but ideally, of course, we want to verify all our patients with in vivo dosimetry. And then during the the QA for in vivo dosimetry, you will need to tell your radiographer, because they are the one actually help us to turn on the Imrt, turn on the software, and then click start to acquire the image when they turn off the beam button. Means simultaneously they need to turn on 2 things to acquire the data. So you need to cooperate with your radiographer. So after they have done the in vivo dosimetry, then physicists will need to grab the data from the Imrt by using the Dosisoft system. And then actually the Dosisoft system is clever enough. They will straight away help you to analyze all the data, but it's a bit slow. Sometimes if the data is a lot, it may take up to 10 minutes to analyze the result. So but then physicists need to, the radiographer need to tell you, because we will only do this at the first day of the treatment. So we only collect 1 data now. So after the radiographer done, they need to inform the physicist, okay, the patient is already done, you can analyze your result. Then the physicist will do their job lah. So actually we are very, how to say, we are very lucky to work in Gangers Penang lah, because whatever physicists wanted to try out something new, the management is give us a lot of support by purchasing this and that QA, because one QA is not cheap. One QA may cost 100,000 and above. So we are very lucky our management is supporting us for this. Okay. Okay, so one. If the patient-specific QA is fair, what is the follow-up action that should be done? Okay, if the patient-specific QA is fair, for my hospital setting, we will first check the QA plan you created in treatment planning system. Does it correct ISO center? Does the calculations to medium water or air is correct? Because there is different QA tools, there is different requirement. Like for us, the delta 4, we need to calculate the dose to the water. And then maybe you can check again whether your phantom setup is correct or not. The plan you select or you export or you import is correct or not. And then once everything is, if if we assume everything of this is correct, but the QA plan is still fair, what we have happened last time is the treatment plan itself. The treatment plan itself, because some calculation per segment MU is too low or too high. This is what the application specialist told us lah. The plan is some error. Then we need to recalculate the plan again. But it's just recalculate lah. You no need to redo from A until Z. So we straight away jump to the stage 2 calculation. After that, they will create a new plan with new segment and new MU. Then after that is already okay. So there is few things lah. So far, the majority problems occurs is at the setup and the image you send is correct or not. Because with these two, if you cause for in my center lah, so far these two problem is the one cause the QA phase lah. Only one times the treatment plan problems. So after we recalculate the plan and reshoot the QA, then there's no problems already. Okay. Okay, then now we will move, before we move on to the clinical, my hospital clinical case, do you have any questions for me? It's a bit difficult to understand in this topic if you are not doing the plan. This is all only the theory. Okay, if there's no questions, then I will straight away jump to clinical example. Stop first. Okay, this is which plan? Okay. Okay, this is example of a. Oh, okay, before that, I need to show you. Okay, I show you the difference of the 3D and the VMAT plan first. This is a CA prostate plan. So after doctor contour the target, the blue is the target which doctor contour. So from this CT image, you will see the organ at risk is actually bladder and the rectum, and of course the left-right femoral head. So this the red is the rectum, the blue is the bladder. So from this image, you can see the PTV, the target is actually a part of the target is actually inside the bladder. So when we treat with 3D, so this patient, I didn't use 4D field box. We try to, because for CA prostate patient, we need to take care of the rectum dose and the bladder dose. So for this, if you use 4D 4-beam field box 3D techniques, for sure the rectum and the bladder dose is out of tolerance. So normally in our hospital, the CA prostate case, we use 5-beam. So if the 3D CRT plan cannot achieve the DVH, we will tell the doctor we need to convert the plan to VMAT. So for this, let me turn on the dose. So ideally, the plan is 95% coverage around your tumor, while the rectum dose and the bladder dose is within the tolerance. So let's see this plan is within the tolerance or not. So I already list out the DVH the DVH where the bladder volume 40 less than 25% receive more than 48.6 gray. Okay, so for the DVH statistic, I will need to put 48.6 gray here and to see how many percent of the volume receive 48.6 gray. As for the rectum, is also the same. So for this case, actually the patient bladder is a bit small. For all the CA prostate patients, we actually do a bladder protocol for them. Means before when they reach our hospital, they need to go to toilet first to pass urine. Then we will conduct what we call bladder protocol. Is like patient need to minimum they need to drink 4 cups of water and then wait for 30 to 40 minutes. Each patient is different. It depends their own body functions. So the minimum is 4 cups and 30 minutes. So for the CT simulation day, after the 30 minutes, within this 30 minutes, patient cannot go toilet. They have to maintain their bladder volume. So after 30 minutes, the radiographer will perform the CT simulations. So this is what we get, what CT image we get after 30 minutes. We can say this patient's bladder volume is still a little bit small. And so during the first day treatment and the following, this patient will receive 20 fractions treatment. So for the 20 fraction treatment, he have to follow strictly this bladder protocol, 4 cups of water and 30 minutes. Before the 30 minutes, some patients before the 30 minutes, they will say they cannot tahan already, they want to kencing already. But then we will do the treatment, not do the treatment, we will set up the patient in the linac room, and then we will perform a cone beam CT for patient to see the bladder volume is whether they match with the first day CT simulation or not. If it is matched, then we will continue the treatment. If it is not, we will ask the patient wait for another 5 or 10 minutes. So because some CA prostate patient, CA prostate is because patient prostate functionality is already out. So it may cause their urine sensation is different from a normal patient. Like sometimes you feel you want to urine, but actually when you go to toilet, it's actually no. So their urine sensation is already out of control. So that's why before 30 minutes, they already tell us they cannot tahan, but actually the bladder is still very small volume. So for this CA prostate patient, we will need to perform daily cone beam CT for patient, because we need to fully make sure the bladder volume is the same as the first day treatment, because our treatment plans is planned based on the first day simulation scan. So whatever we achieve here, the deviation, whatever we achieve here, we need to make sure every day is different. If this one I can show you later, when the empty bladder is happen, what will occur. So go back to the DVH first. So for the criteria, let's say, okay, this one, bladder less than 25% receive not more than 48.6 gray. When you see here, now is 44% receiving 48.6 gray. while the others, actually the others is all fulfilled. See, less than 50%, 50%, this one is less than 5. Oh, this one also fair. See, all the bladder DVH is fair, while the rectum, if I'm not mistaken, for the rectum is all pass. Okay, the rectum is all pass. So for this plan, we will tell doctor the bladder DVH is not passed. Do you want to change to the VMAT plan, or you want to accept this DVH? Because bladder toxicity is lesser than rectum, some of the doctor may just choose it's okay, it's a little bit only, we can go ahead with 3D plans. But majority they won't accept this plan now. That's why we need to do we have to create a VMAT plan. So I'll show you the VMAT plan. Let me okay. This is the 3D DVH. Then now we go to the VMAT plan. Okay. So for this VMAT plan, we created 2 arc for patients. 1 beam, but 2 arc means the gantry will rotate patient 2 times. 1 clockwise and then 1 anti-clockwise. So with this plan, oh, you can see the 95%. Actually the PTV coverage is about the same compared to the 3D plan, but for this patient, we managed to reduce the bladder dose. You see just now the V48.6 less than 25%. Now with the VMAT plan, we managed to create a plan within all the tolerance. You see 25%, and then this one less than 50%, and this one less than 5%. While just now the 3D plan, we cannot achieve all this tolerance. So this is the advantage using the VMAT plan to reduce the OAR dose while the tumor dose is still within we can also achieve the dose wherever doctor requests. So okay, the yellow color is 95%. Of course, for this patient, we need to compromise a bit, because if we want to achieve our bladder dose, we really need to compromise our bladder. We need to compromise the PTV to save the bladder. So after we compare 2 plans, doctor agreed to go on VMAT plan. So means actually inside here is all the bladder water, because after that they expand. You see the actual tumor is this green color, but because CTV, after CTV need to expand the margin for PTV, this PTV will involve in the bladder. So actually when the CTV is coverage enough, 95%, you see the 95% is covered nicely around the CTV. So doctor can accept the PTV is covering, if not mistaken, is 90%. Okay, this one also not enough. Okay, it's okay. Because this one is not my plan, my physics plan. So but then doctor approved the plan. So go back to just now, how do we manipulate those parameter? Okay, so first thing in Imrt plan, I should say, before you do any plan, you should see your target volume first. To it, you should see where is the doctor contour, the nearby OAR, and then only you decide how do you want to do your plan. So normally for CA prostate patient, as I mentioned, we will do 1 beam 2 arc. So delivery mode is VMAT. For this, for Monaco function, they see there is step and shoot Imrt, DMLC, the conformal RT. Conformal RT means the 3D. DMLC is the just now the sliding window MLC. And then for this one, no need to explain here. And then the step and shoot with Imrt. So for this, my hospital setting is VMAT. So treatment machine, because we have 2 machines, so I can either choose Synergy machine or Versa HD machine. The difference is the Versa HD machine, I have each MLC is 5 mm thickness, while the Synergy machine is 1 cm thickness. So the smaller the MLC, the better the treatment plan. So for all the VMAT case, we will use a Versa HD machine. So the mortality is photon. The calculation algorithm for Monaco, it will with all using Monte Carlo. So energy which energy you wish to use. So in this Versa HD machine, we have 6 MB, 10 MB. 6 FFF means filtering free filtering. Full name is what? I can't remember, but it's not using the target. So it's without filter the. And this one is quite a lot of info. But the majority difference is the dose rate is fast enough to. Normally the 10 MB dose rate is 600 gray per minute, but the FFF we can go up to 2400. So means the higher the dose rate, the treatment time is shorter. So yes, flattening filter free. Thank you. So for this patient, for majority of patient prostate, we will use 10 MB because patient is quite big. And then for when you created a new beam for your plan, the MU they won't give you first. So the SSD is depends the isocenter where you locate. Then we have to key in the prescription 60 gray in 20. So come to the Imrt constraint. This is the one I said which parameter you want to play around. Okay, for PTV 60, the doctor want the PTV 60 is coverage by 60 gray. So you can see here, there's so many cost function we can play around in Monaco. So target EUD, target penalty, cotrotic overdose, all these. So if this structure is target, so we will only choose target EUD or target penalty. In normal ways, we will choose only target penalty. Target EUD is more to radiobiology parameter to play around, but it takes a long time to play around for this. So we won't choose this function because we really don't have time to play around. But like a prostate case, normally because we are already experienced in treating prostate case, so normally like half day we already manage to create a good plan. So we will actually straight away use a template where all the prostate patient treatment. So when I created the template plan, it will straight away give me all these cost function directly put in all the functions. So I no need to create one by one. So come back to this. So target penalty 60 gray. Quarterly overdose. I don't think I'm going to explain all this here lah, because this one different, like I said, different treatment planning system, different cost function. There is for you to use. So for OAR, bladder, rectum. So for bladder and rectum, I will tell the system, like just now, V48.6 less than 25%. So I will try to achieve. No, just now there is one criteria is V60 less than 5%. So by using this overdose DVH, I will tell the system this is the one what I have. You cannot put more than 5% volume, more than 60 gray. So I directly tell the system this is what I want. Unlike other planning system, I think they have only maximum dose and minimum dose. I'm not sure how is it now lah, but last time when I used another system is only have like maximum dose and minimum dose, and then you adjust the weighting to give priority to which OAR you want to achieve first. But by using Monaco, we don't need to do that step. So after I key in all these cost function or parameter into the system, I tell the system this is what I want, you generate for me. So let me quickly run a plan. But I'm not sure how fast is the calculation time. Never mind, I just calculate. So the first stage, they will optimize the fluence map first. Then once they go to once they done the first step optimizations, they will roughly tell you the DVH. Then you will see you are satisfied or not. Let me see. Maybe because this computer is a bit slow compared to another tool, but I cannot use that tool. So it's actually like, okay, let me see, with 60, 50, and okay. So from the DVH here, you can straight away see the blue line is for PTV 60, yellow is bladder, and the brown color is for rectum. So from here, you can roughly know the DVH achieved or not, you see. Okay, it's done. So from here, you can see this is only the first step. You can see V60, achieve. But because just now I use back the same cost function from the approved plan, so it's much easier to achieve the plan now. Okay. Okay, see, let's see. Rectum V57 is correct. It's all achieved. So means when you already satisfied with stage 1 calculation, you don't need to adjust any parameter here. You can straight away jump to stage 2. For stage 2, if you're starting the segmentation, means they will try to just now is fluence map. Fluence map actually is also come from very small segment to create a plan for you. So for stage 2, they will start to again the segmentation and the dose, the actual dose for you. So from this, you will see the real total number of monitor unit for this plan. So if I'm not mistaken, just now the approved plan, it will need around 900 plus MU to deliver a 300 centigrade per fraction plan to the patients. So I think I'm going to stop this calculation because it's really take quite a long time. We don't have that time to then okay, from here, okay, then okay, before that, before I show you the QA, okay, I show you the comparison of 3D plan, the bladder protocol, what I okay. The 3D. Okay, this is the difference with and without bladder protocol. Okay, you can see the right side here is with bladder protocol, but this plan is actually empty bladder. So when you treat the patients with empty bladder, you will see the dose 90% is actually already touched. All these small air gap one is our bowel in the intestines. So when they receive a 90% dose every day, so the patient will end up diarrhea immediately. Actually, so far, like in the morning you receive your radiotherapy treatment. In the afternoon, you may feel you may develop diarrhea already. So this is very important. You have to tell patients why we want to do this, and then you have to explain to them you need to make sure your bladder is full. So this is just side topic from Imrt. I just want to show you this one. Then after that, before I go to okay, after doctor approve the plan for this one, so doctor will actually key in their username and password to lock the plan. Means they already approved the plan. You cannot edit the plan already. So they will every consultant they have own password to approve the plan and lock it. So once they approve the plan, we will create a QA plan for this. So to create a QA plan, I'll show you how to do. So by using this approved plan, I will click new QA plan. I show you the difference of 2D and 3D QA plan. For creating a QA plan is a bit slow to come out. I also don't understand why. So far, while we are waiting, do you have any questions or not? I open another patient first. So while I'm waiting for that one, I show you this QA plan. This is a MPC case. Why so slow? Okay. This is my delta 4 phantom. We actually need to create the phantom into the treatment planning system. So when we create a new QA plan, it will actually grab all the information, the segmentation from the approved plan into the phantoms. One we is like copy and paste the MLC segmentations into the phantoms. So you need to make sure you select the correct ISO center. The ISO center is defined as the middle of the phantoms. Different tools, different ISO center lah, of course. So for this delta 4 is within the middle of the phantoms. So I will create. I will here for this this NPC plan, they have two beams, so we will both put at marker 1 0 0 0 coordinate. Then after the this one not calculate. Okay, let me calculate. After we calculate, then it will show out the calculation in 3D way. Oh, let me go back here. So just now I click create new QA plan. So because we already load all the information into our treatment planning system. So from here, I will select, for this, I will select delta 4. If I want another, let's say delta 4 is already run in my plan. It's a 3D QA plan. So now I wanted to create a 2D QA plan for you all to see. So I will select this is my 2D QA tools, the PTW. So because of 2D, this is only a one side plane, one detector only. It's even rotating according to the gantry. So I need to fix all the information. Means the plan is actually a volumetric, is 360-degree plan, but I can't perform this 360-degree because my QA tools is 2D. So I have to tell the system I want everything shoot at gantry 0. So I have to click this one. I have to tell them I want all the information combined in gantry 0 angles. Then I will click OK. Okay, let's go back to this one. I haven't done yet. We need to wait for a while. Okay, this one is the 2D one. 2D just now I created that one. So I need to select ISO center point. So this is the one of the error just now. One of the student asked what kind of what type of mistake if you cause the QA fail. So this is one of it lah. If you select a different ISO center and you set up different ISO center, it will cause your QA plan fail. So you have to make sure the ISO center you choose is correct. So of course in our center we already fixed everything. So for this phantom, actually we put 10 cm slab phantom below and above. So this white color is actually my PTW 1500 detector. Why we call PTW 1500? Because inside the PTW itself, it have 1,500 ionized chamber inside the detector. So of course, the more detector, the more ion chamber inside, the accuracy is much higher. So after I create, I don't need to do anything, and I don't need to recreate a plan and straight away calculate it. So while we are waiting for this 2D, go back. Okay, this is now the 3D calculation, QA plan calculations. So you can actually, from here, you can roughly see the dose distribution is about your, just now the MPC plan. Just now I didn't show you, but you can see the reference map. The red is the hottest dose, and then blue is the lowest. So after you calculate, it actually just paste the plan into the phantom. So this is what we call the 3D reference map. Okay, once it's done, you need to export. Cannot save. Oh, this one already. So once you're done, you need to export this QA plan into your Delta 4 software. So it depends which software and which things, which modalities you want to send. For example, Delta 4, and you need to send the structure set and the plan dose to the Delta 4. So after I select, I will just export. So after export, you need to go to your Delta 4 software. This computer don't have the Delta 4 software. Delta 4 software is at control room, so I can't show you in this computer. So after you import the current one into your Delta 4 software, you import, then you need to go to your Linux and shoot the real actual where the plan that doctor approved just now. Means after doctor approved this now, we also need to export the plan. We also need to export this plan to model system. So everything will be, see when I export the plan, it's just export like this. I won't edit anything. So okay, let it export. So go back to this one is the 2D one. You can see this is the 2D prostate plan fluence map. You can see okay. This is the fluence map that created. So it's have all they already combine all the segmentation from 360 gantry angle into gantry 0. So from here, you can actually see. So when I click, let me turn off this. So when I click which segment, you can actually see the MLC is moving. Each segment MLC is different. This is what we call the intensity modulated beam just now. So each of this segment when they combine together, it will become your plans. A very good plan, unlike the 3D one, is only the fixed field. So for this plan, for this prostate plan, total have how many segments? Let me see. Total we will have 269 6 months. But actually it's not lah. Actually you need to divide by 2. So means this plan is 137, 36 segments like that. So 136 small segments to combine become one good plans. So you can see now the differences. This is the 3D. No, this is the 2D fluence map. This is a 2D fluence MLC map. Wow. The 3D one. Need to calculate again. The 3D one is actually will be looks like just now the one I show you is the shape of the target. Okay. Okay. Just wait for a while. Then I go and grab my chargers first. Okay, still not done yet. I don't want to jump to another case first. I scared it will confuse you. So let's just wait for a while. So in the meantime, you have any questions or not? These cases where after doctor approve the plan, then suddenly need to change the plan or not satisfied. Yeah, there is sometimes after doctor approve the plan, maybe after they think for a while, they wanted to change some DVH criteria, they may ask you to recalculate the plan. And then, but mostly, because we already worked 7 years with our doctors, so we know what they want. So normally their plan won't be changed lah. So far, we have each trust. We have the trust between physicist and the consultant. So there's no issue in my hospitals lah. But if there is a new oncologist come or visiting oncologist, they may have this habit to change. And then under some situations like patient lose weight or the side effects is very bad. If the patient lose weight, means the patient separations is already different. We may need to recreate a plan for them lah. So this is what we call adaptive plan. So it's normally happens in NPC case, because NPC case the treatment dose will be 70 gray in 35 fractions. For example, this case. So after we treat, normally after we treat 20 fractions, if you significant changes will be a patient around patient's necks. Let me show you an example, because I have one example. After patient treat 3 weeks, actually the neck patient weight loss a lot, because NPC case, the side effect is quite severe because all the oral cavity is burned. So patient can't eat solid food. So patient can only depends on those milk liquid food. So for this situation, for sure patient will lose weight. So when their weight is reduced, or their physical, means their body separation is changed a lot, we will need to replan, else the dose won't be correct. Let me show you one example. Okay. Okay, this one. Okay, the yeah, the left side is the first day CT simulations. Then doctor contourings will be this one. So after 3 weeks, when patient lose weight, you can actually see the, okay, show you here, this one first. Okay. You can actually see patient neck is already patient is already thin, means because the inside the lymph node is already shrink, so the PTV contouring is already incorrect. So go back to this. Okay, the obvious one will be this one. So before that, the lymph node is this big size. After we treat 3 weeks, the effects come in, the tumor already shrinks. So for this, you see, can see how much changes for these cases. So when you see before the green line is ngam the patient's body. So after 3 weeks, it's already outer from the patient's body. It means the patient already thinner. So for this type of patients, we will replan it. How do we know patients is thinner without doing a CT simulation? So first, of course, when you wear the BDS, the patient body shell, the radiographer will tell you it's already loose. And then for every week, we will do a CBCT, the cone beam CT for patient to re-verify the positionings. So from the cone beam CT, we can also very clearly see the differences of the first day and the 15 days CT. So when the radiographer tell you, okay, this patient, we need to do a CT simulation already. We replan the patient, because normally doctor can't see from physical when they review the patients. So this is one of the good things in our hospital, means the radiographer actually work very close with the physicist. So after we evaluate the patients, evaluate the patient CT, cone beam CT, we will show to doctors, like how I show to you, doctor, the patient's lymph node already shrinks a lot. We will need to replan the patients, else the side effect will be very bad, because the skin will burn very bad. So if doctor agree, because when the patient is shrinks, the effect is not only the tumor dose, if you affect also our organ at risk dose. You see this patient, the target control is so near to the spinal cord. So because all of us knows when the photon beam, if you only interact when it hits the patient body, so means the last section, if you remember, our Dmax is 1.6 cm. So when they hit this surface, then my dose will only come in. So if you push in the dose into the spinal cord, means it's very dangerous if I continue this plan until 70 gray 35 fractions. So by that time, we won't know we won't know how much the spinal cord will be received at that time, because I can't calculate it if we didn't re-simulation the patient. So for this kind of question, we have to take precaution case. So we have to replan again for this patient. So we received this patient at 15 fractions, but then doctor agreed to continue the original plan until 20 fractions, because create a Imrt or VMAT plan, it needs times. So at 21 fractions, then we use the new plan. So this one is to make sure the patient receive a, a good plan, and then it won't compromise the tumor target, and it won't cause any further side effect to the patients. So this is the effort of everyone to make sure the patient is receiving a correct dose. So under this, normally NPC case, when they will need to replan if the patient symptom is there is a lot of big lymph node like this patient, we will need to replan. If like stage 1, stage 2, a small lymph node one, we hardly need to replan the patients. But of course, if the patient's diet is good enough, means they can maintain the weight, they don't have much side effect of the oral cavity, because this one is also related to personal hygiene, because if patients their self take care is very good, they control that their diet very good, means even though they do not have appetite to eat, but they still force themselves to eat, means they can maintain their weight. So this kind of patient, we won't we no need to worry much. So if those patients really like show very not tolerate the side effect, and then they can't eat, then for sure this kind of patient we need to do more works lah. Of course, actually physicists don't like to replan any patients, because it really like wasted our time to recreate a plan while we have other patients to waiting. So normally, so in here, the nurses assessment, how the nurses counseling the patients is very important to help us to reduce this replan chances. So in my department, we will make sure the nurses weekly review the patient to monitor the weight and counsel them how to take care of themselves, how to take care of the side effects. So it reduce our physicist work, reduce radiographer works, and also reduce doctors works actually. So from here you can see for manpower, doctors, radiographer, physicists, and nurses, we need to works with each other. We depends on each other to make sure the treatment plan is successful for patients without any delay, without any break in the patient treatment schedule. So it's require a lot of effort lah, from everyone. So let's go back to. Okay, I already answered your question. We will need to do a re-citizen. Yes. So let's go back just now. Okay. Okay, this one is the 3D fluence map now compared to just now. 3D fluence map is different from the 2D. So from I think that's all from for the QA. And then for QA is only this two part lah, unless if point dose is still, if you want to do 1D point dose, it is still the same method to create a plan, and then you need to know at your ISO center. Where is my ISO center? See, you can see your ISO center, how much dose it received. If you are performing point dose measurements, you need to make sure your ISO center also receive 3.182 centigrade, 3.182 gray at that point. So this is for point dose measurement. So for 2D or 3D measurements, the result will, as just now I show you this one, the computer will automatically generate for you. They will compare themselves, the measured dose and the planned dose. Okay. So for another like this, the MPC, just now is prostate case. For MPC plan, for MPC plan, I want to show you the difference of 3D and the VMAT. Okay. I show you the 3D case first. I cannot put side by side to compare the 3D and VMAT plan. So as you can see, this list of structure is what the doctor contour from GTV, CTV until the PTV. And then this is an MPC case. I want to show you how many organ at risk is there. So the organ at risk basically brachioplexus, brainstem, aneurysm, cochlea. Let me turn on everything first. Okay. After I combine doctor contouring into one group PTV, the green is PTV 63, means doctor aim to achieve 63 gray for this green target, and then 70 gray the white color, 70 gray for this, and then from the top to the part, this is all the organ at risk: eye, brainstem, the cochlea, and then the mandible, the parotid gland, spinal cord, the oral cavity, And then the railings, the brachiopressors, esophagus. So I think at least 10 organ at risk in one MPC case. So MPC case is always the most challenging case for VMAT because it requires already 1 week or 2 weeks to calculate the plan. So for this plan, how do we want to cover everything from 3D technique while you want to save the organ at risk dose? So let me show you this one. Basically for 3D and PC case, the plan will be 2D, two opposed lateral for the upper part, and then one anterior neck to the neck region because the shoulder is here, so we cannot treat by opposed lateral view. So by using this 3D technique, I want to show you the coverage. Dr. 170 gray and 63 gray. Okay. Because of the spinal cord, we can receive only 45 gray maximum. So by end of the treatment, patient will only receive this area with 70 gray. This area will be received 66 gray because we need to boost with electron, of course. But because if you are using 3D technique, so the tumor dose may not achieve 70 gray as doctor requests. The most they can receive is actually around 60 gray only for this region because we want to spare the spinal cord. So and then you can see if you use the opposed lateral beam or the parotid gland is already burned. The oral cavity is also burned. So they will cause patient xerostomia, means they are dry mouth and then no saliva. Due to this, they can't really their mouth won't be taste anything, and then it's also affect their larynx. See, larynx is here, so when we eat food, it will be very pain because it's all hurt by 70 gray. So this is 3D will cause much more side effect. So patient really need to tolerate for the 35 fractions. So unlike the VMAT plan, so this is the VMAT plan. So 70 gray and 63 gray. So the blue color is 45 gray. 45 gray. So you can see nicely the spinal cord dose is less than 45 gray, while the other region, the tumor, the target volume, Dr. Contour is all receive a very good dose. It's at least 69, I think. At least 69 gray and 62 gray. The orange color is 69 gray. See, just now the parotid gland can be saved because of the opposed lateral beam. With Imrt or VMAT technique, we can actually spare half of the parotid gland dose. So that's why people said by using Imrt or VMAT, it can reduce much more side effect to the patient. And then for the railings also, see, we can actually spare the railing less than 45 gray, so patient won't cause much side effect, and then they still manage to eat solid food at the end of the treatment after 35 fractions. So this is the very good example comparing 3D and Imrt VMAT cases. So just now I have one question. Are there cases for electron therapy? If yes, is the planning step just the same like photon? Yes, there is electron therapy cases. So the first, you create the plan, provided your treatment planning system, you put in all the electron data, electron beam data. Then you just create the plan as normal, the 3D, like last time I show you the 3D, and then you calculate. It's just basic. But if you don't have a electron data, electron beam data in your treatment planning system, those days doctor will straight away tell you, because every energy, every electron energy have different PDD, different Dmax, and different surface dose. So doctor will measure the separations of the patients, or let's say example for this case, doctor want to boost, just now I mentioned for the 3D, open up the 3D first. Okay, for this patient, normally MPC, they will boost this area with the electron therapy, because as we know, the electron, as the depth increase, the doses will get low. So it won't hurt much of the, it won't contribute much dose to the spinal cord. So as for this case, doctor will measure from patient skin to the desired area, where they want to boost this area only 2 cm depth. So for 2 cm depth, then they will decide which electron energy to use. So as a physicist, we already know 2 centimeter, you will need to use 10 MeV, energy 10 MeV, because the Dmax is around 2.2 or 2.0. So of course, our center, we will provide a spreadsheet for doctor to choose the energy lah. From there, they can actually see at what at 2 centimeter it achieve 100%, at 4 centimeter how many percent. So wait lah, let me think, in my computer have the spreadsheet on. Don't think there is because we already print out. So for let's say for example, for these cases, doctor will boost the lymph node area with 10 MeV left and right. So of course, the spinal cord will still receive some of the dose from the electron, but it's much less than the compared to the photon. So there's 2 techniques. Either you can put in a planning here, or just manual calculation for the electron beam. Doctor will just mark the area you want to treat on patient skin. Then we just treat according to the marking area. Okay. Is there any other questions for me? So for another case, this is a simple brain case. So there is a tumor inside a right temporal lobe. So after the doctor contour same, they will tell you the desired dose. So for this kind of case, it's a very simple VMAT plan. So if you want to use 3D CRT, what kind of beam arrangement you will use for these patients? Can anyone guess? No one want to guess. Oh, I cannot create the plan here. Okay, so normally for this kind of patients, we can only treat, let me put in the, can only plan like this. One posterior, and one right lateral. So at the end, we will see the dose distribution. It will be a box fill. It wouldn't be concave to the dose distribution wouldn't conform to the spinal cord, the tumor. I can't calculate this 3D plan here. So you can imagine how is the box fills lah. Then, so let me show you this VMAT plan. This is the VMAT plan we created. I want to show you how good is the VMAT plan. Okay, doctor prescribed yellow color 22.5, blue color 25, and the green is 30 gray. But the 30 gray is the maximum dose for these patients. So we need to restrict our plan. Maximum dose is less than 30 gray. So if you want to restrict your plan to maximum 30 gray, for sure the doctor PTV, the PTV 30, it won't receive 30 more than 30 gray. See, 30 gray only 0.09% receive 30 gray. So for the volume PTV 30, 95% of it is only 27 gray. Okay, 27 gray, at least receive at least 27 gray. And then for this patient, because if 22.5 gray in 5 fractions, it will cost you about 30 gray EQD2. So means the patient end up will receive 30 gray in this PTV region. So doctor wants only 22.5 gray conform to the outer this PTV 22.5, the yellow color. So the amazing of the VMAT is after the 22.5 gray, we normally know the dose will fall off. So how fast the dose can be fall off? So 2 gray. The dark blue color is actually 8 gray. So how fast? You see, from 22.5 gray, it dropped to 8 gray within 1 centimeter. Means 22.5, 22 minus 8 is 14. Within 1 cm, it reduced 14 gray. So it's a wonderful things of VMAT. And of course, if you use 5 mm MLC, it will be much more better. But because this patient is bedridden, so we cannot use the Versa HD. It's some limitation of the Versa HD, so we decided to use only Synergy 1 cm MLC. So with only Imrt and Versa HD, you can create this kind of plan with the 3D. like just now I show you the box field. The box field, normally we know the age boundary will receive 50% of the dose. So minimum of brain, the outside the brain here will receive 50% of the 25 gray, because we prescribe to 25 gray actually this patient. So for this patient, 8 gray out of 8 divided by 25. So actually this patient, compared to the 3D, this patient received 30% only, compared to the 3D 50%. So it reduced already 20% dose to the brain. Of course, this plan, because this plan we only use a normal two-up technique. So if you want to reduce further, there is chance to reduce furthermore by maybe you rotating the collimator, rotating the couch angle, and then you push more. Means you ask the computer to push more, but we need to balance out the patient delivery times and the benefit of it lah. If you spend a lot of time in planning and then end up patient will need more delivery time and to get a minor benefit of it, we won't do that lah. So we will see which one is the best for the patients and also balance up our physicist job. You can do a very fancy plan, 4 beam, 6 beam in how many MU, but it's not worth it because patient will be lie down on couch much more times. You know, sometimes the brain patients some patient is restless, they cannot stand to lay on the couch for longer time. So if you make them uncomfortable and they will move. So when they move, the target may be out. So it's not worth for 20 minutes treatment times compared to 10 minutes treatment time. So we will always choose for the best for the patients lah. For this, we find two-up techniques is enough for this patient. You see the MU is only around 1,000, means it costs only 2 minutes treatment planning. So 2 minutes planning, 2 minutes treatment times is a very good time for patient where it's restless. Restless means patient will keep moving. They don't know what are they doing. So for 2 minute time, we will make sure he can't move on the treatment couch. So as a physicist, we need to consider a lot of factors in patients, in physicists, in doctors, in radiographers. You need to think a lot how to reduce the treatment delivery time, how to reduce other patients' waiting times. So by working together with radiographer, it's very important. You need to working very closely with radiographer. Then everyone will get the benefit. This is my advice for physicists lah, because there is few centers the physicist not very works with radiographer, where there's some miscommunications may cause the patient treatment time, patient waiting time increase, and then it's not a very perfect team. How to say the teamwork is not there lah. So my advice to, you really need to know how radiographer thinks, what do they want, because sometimes they will blame you. Ayo, why you plan this very susah lah, banyak angle like this and like that. want to shift a lot lah, then we also need to get the point of view from them lah, because they are the one daily set up the patient. Physicist is only sit in the room, where if you create fancy plan, end up they are the one need to treat the patients and you sit in the room. So you place your shoes into theirs and things how tired is them and then how tired is patients. So we need to think all of these factors. So this is my advice to physicists. Sorry, Africa, you don't understand what I explained to the electron beams? So you remember last sections, we create a 3D plan, right? So basically, it's just you key in the prescription and then you create a beam. Let's say this is a MEV. I can't show you here. I don't know the answer for the 3D CRD beam position. Oh, it's just how to say the area doctor want to boost electron. The area doctor want to boost electron, you need to mesh the isocenter and the H field for with the photon beam. I don't have the hands here. Let me see my whiteboard. One minute. I have to get my pen, my drawing pen. So for example, just now the case, this is the photon beam you already shoot. And then doctor want to boost this area with electron beam. So we have to create an electron beam. Yeah. We have to create an electron beam matching with the edge of the photon, like this. So you need to put your isocenter here in your planning system. Sorry, you can't see my screen. Oh yeah. Share. Now you can see my drawing. Okay. For just now the example, we already treat photon with the this red color region. So doctor want to boost the electron field to this blue lymph node. So at the planning system, we need to create a field for the electron by matching the edge of this photon beam. So that's why you need to define your isocenter where the electron beam edge is meshed directly here. Okay, so this one you can create through the planning system. This planning system, I cannot run a 3D plan. So it's basically the same. You just key in all the parameters here, maybe what angle, and then the isocenter, The ISO center, actually you can play around by editing the ISO center. Then which energy you want to select. If you have electron, if you select a 3D plan, then there will option photon or electron here. Then it will show up which energy you want to use. And then for electron, because we know it's a fixed applicator field size, 10 by 10 or 14 by 14, so you will just select from the parameter. It's all inside the premium planning system already. So then you will need to tell your radiographer lor. You have to match which normally the radiographer will already know they doctor want to, for this MPC case, because they already know doctor want to boost which area, so they will first mark at the patient's BDS. They will first mark like what we do. They will first mark the edge of the photon field, and then they place the applicator here. They will place the applicator here to match back the edge. Then all the calculation, the MU calculation, is based on the calculation from treatment planning system. Means after you do the plan, you will calculate the dose distributions, and then you just let them know how many MU to shoot. It's just that only. It's very, for electron, is much more simple than photon. Can you understand now the Africa? Oh, that's good. Understand. So is there any others questions? Because actually I think I already finished up my covering topic lah. It's bad I can't show you the real, because actually morning time is a lot of patient. I also can't show you the real QA procedure. But if have chance, you all just visit hospital lah. Then you can see a lot of things.
Any other question? So, Miss, you already done sharing your.
Yeah, because there's no questions, so I think the time also already reduced quite a lot.
Do you understand? All of you understand? Quite complex. So when they started working, they should start with the 3D first, right?
That's why new physicist joiner, we won't let them touch any IMRT VMAT plan.
Question? We already finished up actually with the Viva will be on 13 September, and then after that they're done.
Oh, the Viva. But majority of the Viva is based on the theory. Very less there is a planning thesis.
Didn't do it actually. It also will be difficult because we can't really visit the topic what available equipment that we have at.
Yeah, perhaps next year the situation is better, then I can give you some planning the thesis idea, because actually we wanted to conduct some study, but we don't have the time. We really need students to do it.
Yeah.
And we have my another senior physicist, she have the collaboration with IPPT, so there is few students actually come to collect data at our hospital.
We would love to actually, yeah. Yeah, I think now most of the time, even when you reach hospital, they say that we can't really because of the situation. Hopefully next year.
Yeah.
Those at GH also, if you know Dr. Rema, so but the same thing as well. Students still cannot enter GH.
Ah, yeah.
Even those intern can't really do. Most of them are
Those
still working from home. Even though it's an internship, but they're also working from home.
they can work. I also hope I can working from home, but I can't.
Okay, if there is no question, can we have a photo session for this for today before we end it? I'd like to thank Miss Teo. Thank you so much. You are doing well as well. Last time you can we have a photo session? Probably this will be our last session.
Next time we do real training in hospital.
I would love to.
Uh, 1 day or 2 day.
Come everyone. Have remaining final year. So their name just now, but maybe get harder and then anyone else joining? Jaya is a lecturer at USM Kubang Krian, Perhaps campus. Jaya, turn on your camera. One is singing at
I said,
yeah,
I
I think I
said,
saw. Yeah.
I said, I know Jaya.
Ah, you know Jaya, oh really?
I don't think she remember me or not lah.
We are from the same batch when we did master together. Yeah, we did master together.
She practical at Johor Specialist last time, right?
If you're undergraduate. I think maybe that's that. Okay, let's take the photo. Some don't really. Time. 2, 3. Thank you so much, Miss Teo. If there is any vacancy at Gleany Girls, know so I can offer to them. Maybe
I will inform you if there is.
That's all then.
Okay,
If you
thank
have
you
any
everyone.
question, maybe you want to ask, and also pass it to me. I will ask. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
There.